What if everything people know about motors is wrong? Reports suggest there's a motor design that apparently needs no copper windings and no rare earth magnets. Sources claim it runs cooler, quieter, and uses 30% less power than regular motors. This technology allegedly existed centuries ago, but the motor industry reportedly buried it. Here's what insiders apparently don't want anyone to know about electrostatic motors and why they could allegedly threaten billion-dollar businesses. The motor that time forgot. In the mid-17th century, curious inventors were reportedly making objects move using nothing but electric charges and sparks. These weren't the heavy copper motors people see today. Sources suggest these early inventors had something completely different. Benjamin Franklin allegedly wasn't just flying kites in thunderstorms. Reports claim he was creating motion from static electricity itself. Think of it like rubbing a balloon on hair and watching it stick to the wall. Franklin and others apparently took that same idea and made it spin wheels and move mechanical parts. Andrew Gordon also reportedly built machines that showcased how electric charges could move objects. The technology worked using pure electric fields instead of magnets or copper wire. These early electrostatic devices showed real promise according to historical accounts. Sources suggest they could spin smoothly and run quietly using simple principles. Picture a machine that moved without the grinding noise that copper motors create today. Reports claim these devices could work while staying completely cool to the touch. But there was a major problem. These early machines were reportedly fragile and prone to breaking down. Sources suggest they sparked too easily, shocked their users, and broke down under pressure. The electricity allegedly jumped unpredictably between surfaces, making the devices unreliable for serious work. Think of trying to run a factory with machines that might stop working at any moment. Other inventors allegedly built working electrostatic machines throughout the 1700s and early 1800s. Sources suggest these motors used charged plates or rotating discs to create motion. The electricity allegedly jumped between surfaces, pushing and pulling them to create rotational force. Reports claim some of these early designs could power small machines and mechanical devices, but only under ideal conditions. Then something decisive apparently happened around the mid-1800s. Scientists discovered that passing electric current through wires created powerful magnetic fields capable of moving metal with precision and control. This breakthrough reportedly paved the way for magnetic motors that could be scaled up, built larger, and operated with much greater safety and reliability. Copper coil motors allegedly took over everything during this period. The old electric charge motors reportedly vanished from factories and workshops almost completely. Sources suggest this shift happened because the new magnetic designs could handle heavy industrial work without the constant breakdowns that plagued electrostatic devices. Industry reportedly embraced what was practical at scale. The copper and magnet motors allegedly offered the raw strength needed for running big machines in factories. Sources claim they were more reliable, safer to operate, and could work in harsh industrial conditions where electrostatic motors would fail due to moisture or temperature problems. The electrostatic designs allegedly couldn't compete with steam engines and the emerging magnetic motors for serious industrial applications. Reports suggest they remained limited to small demonstrations and laboratory experiments. The technology that had shown such early promise reportedly hit a wall when it came to real-world power demands. Historical accounts reportedly show the transition made sense from a technical standpoint. The magnetic motors allegedly needed less maintenance because they were more robust. Sources suggest they could work consistently in conditions that would destroy the delicate electrostatic devices. The industry apparently chose reliability over the elegant simplicity of electric fields. But while technical limits explain much of what happened, some observers now ask whether business interests helped freeze that choice into an industry standard. Reports suggest the copper motor industry was allegedly easier to control and more profitable for manufacturers. Think about it. Electrostatic motors reportedly needed very few materials to build. Copper motors allegedly required tons of expensive wire and complex manufacturing processes. What if those early technical problems could have been solved with modern materials and engineering? Sources suggest the technology was allegedly abandoned before exploring all its potential applications. The question remains whether practical limitations were the only reason this path disappeared completely. The copper conspiracy. Reports and observers suggest powerful economic incentives to stick with copper coils and rare earth magnets, and those incentives may have slowed interest in alternatives. Picture this. Modern motors allegedly require tons of copper wire wrapped around metal cores. They reportedly need powerful magnets made from materials that cost hundreds of dollars per pound. These parts apparently make up most of what people pay for when they buy any device with a motor inside. Modern motors rely on copper and permanent magnets, and rare earth magnet production and copper mining bring documented environmental and supply chain challenges. Think about it like this. Every washing machine, every fan, every power tool reportedly needs pounds of copper wire wound into perfect coils. Sources suggest a typical car has dozens of motors that allegedly use more copper than most people realize. The magnets reportedly come from rare earth elements that get mined in only a handful of countries worldwide, creating expensive, concentrated suppliers. These materials allegedly create a massive global supply chain that motor companies reportedly depend on. Sources claim copper mining operations span entire continents just to feed the motor industry's appetite. The rare earth magnet business allegedly depends on mines in remote locations that process millions of tons of rock to extract tiny amounts of useful materials. Reports suggest rare earth processing can produce radioactive waste while copper mining is environmentally damaging. This system reportedly makes motors expensive and keeps prices high for consumers. But reports suggest there's been a working alternative all along that apparently needs almost none of these expensive parts. Sources claim electrostatic motors can allegedly run using thin printed plates instead of heavy copper coils. These motors reportedly need no rare earth magnets at all. Think of it like replacing pounds of expensive wire with something as light as a few sheets of paper. Think about it. If motors didn't need copper or rare magnets, some very big companies would allegedly lose billions in sales. Picture the copper industry reportedly selling thousands of tons of wire every month just for motor production. Sources suggest magnet manufacturers allegedly depend on motor companies buying their most expensive products. Reports claim these business relationships apparently create strong reasons to stick with current technology instead of switching to alternatives. Decades of factories, tooling, and skilled labor centered on coil winding create strong economic friction against rapidly switching motor types. Sources claim motor companies reportedly spent billions building factories designed specifically for copper coil production. The tooling and equipment allegedly can't easily switch to making different types of motors. Reports suggest companies apparently face huge losses if they abandon their current manufacturing investments. Reports suggest consumers have been paying inflated prices for decades while better technology allegedly sat on the shelf. Sources claim motor prices reportedly include the cost of expensive materials that alternative designs might not need. Think about it. Every appliance price allegedly includes copper and magnet costs that get passed directly to buyers. Reports suggest people have been paying extra for materials that alternative motor designs could apparently eliminate. We have concrete examples where the new design reportedly cut energy by about 30% in a brewery trial, and in one industrial case, a company reported roughly $60,000 a year in direct energy savings. Sources claim these savings get even larger when maintenance and downtime are counted. The electrostatic motors allegedly use electricity more efficiently than copper designs, while reportedly lasting longer and requiring less maintenance. The real proof allegedly comes when observers see what happens inside these mysterious motors. What if the solution was simpler than anyone imagined? The secret motor revolution. Instead of imagining it, consider this. Engineers could replace pounds of copper wire with something thinner than a playing card. Sources claim new electrostatic motors allegedly use just thin printed plates instead of heavy coils and magnets. Think of it like swapping out a thick phone book for a few sheets of paper. Reports suggest these plates get stacked together and allegedly do the same job as all that expensive copper wire. These motors reportedly run on high voltage but low current, completely flipping how people think motors should work. Picture regular motors like garden hoses with thick water flowing through them. Sources claim electrostatic motors allegedly work more like thin lightning bolts with very little actual electricity moving around. Reports suggest this approach apparently uses way less power while still creating the same amount of spinning force. Picture 13 ultra-thin plates packed together with electricity jumping between them to create motion. Think of it like making a sandwich with really thin slices. Sources claim each plate allegedly gets charged with electricity that pushes and pulls against the plates next to it. The electricity reportedly jumps back and forth between these surfaces thousands of times per second. Reports suggest this constant pushing and pulling apparently makes the whole stack spin like a wheel. The plates allegedly work like invisible magnets that can switch on and off instantly. Sources claim the electricity creates fields that reportedly push the plates apart and pull them together in a controlled pattern. It's like watching two magnets being flipped, sometimes pushing away, other times snapping together. Reports suggest this electric pushing and pulling allegedly happens so fast that it creates smooth spinning motion. Reports suggest these motors stay cool using a special liquid that allegedly prevents dangerous sparking while transferring heat. Sources claim this liquid apparently surrounds all the plates and reportedly stops electricity from jumping where it shouldn't. Think of it like oil in a car engine that keeps metal parts from grinding against each other. The liquid allegedly moves heat away from the plates while protecting them from electrical damage. This cooling system reportedly lets the motors run much longer without overheating. Sources claim regular copper motors allegedly get so hot they need fans and metal cooling fins. The electrostatic design apparently stays cool enough to touch even after running for hours. Reports suggest this means less energy gets wasted as heat and more power allegedly goes toward actual spinning motion. Real-world testing apparently shows these motors running 12 hours a day for months without breaking down. Sources claim companies allegedly tested these motors in harsh conditions where regular motors would fail quickly. Think of it like comparing a delicate watch to a simple digital clock. Reports suggest the electrostatic motors apparently keep working even when regular motors reportedly start having problems. Sources claim one brewery saw 30% lower power bills after switching to this allegedly suppressed technology. Think about what a 30% savings means for someone paying hundreds of dollars per month for electricity. Reports suggest the brewery allegedly replaced several large motors with electrostatic versions and reportedly watched their energy costs drop significantly. Sources claim the motors apparently used less power while allegedly doing the same amount of work. The motors reportedly run almost silent and can allegedly even work underwater due to their sealed design. Regular motors apparently make noise from copper coils vibrating and metal parts grinding together. Sources claim electrostatic motors allegedly eliminate most of these noise sources because electricity does the work instead of heavy mechanical parts. Reports suggest the sealed liquid cooling system apparently protects everything from water damage. When heavy copper coils are replaced with thin printed plates that weigh almost nothing, the result is reportedly motors that use less power, run cooler, and last longer than anything currently on the market. Sources claim these motors reportedly eliminate the need for expensive copper wire and rare earth magnets while allegedly delivering better performance. Reports suggest the weight savings alone apparently makes these motors easier to install and transport. But the biggest shock allegedly comes from seeing who's trying to bring this technology back. The story reveals an interesting arc. Early electrostatic experiments showed promise but faced technical limits, magnetic coil motors rose for practical reasons, and modern fixes have allegedly made electrostatic designs work in specific trials. Reports suggest powerful economic incentives may have slowed interest in alternatives, though whether this represents intentional suppression remains unproven. The key breakthroughs apparently include printed plates that use less material, dielectric liquid that prevents sparks while cooling, and modern semiconductors that provide precise control. These advances reportedly delivered real results in documented tests. If the brewery test surprises you, leave a comment. Would you swap a motor if it cut energy by 30%? Like and share if you want more investigations into hidden technologies. If these trials scale, the implications could be wide. But the evidence so far is specific tests, not a global overturn. And that's what makes this story worth watching.